Jai Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. We offer our most respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, full of compassion for fallen, conditioned souls. Jai. Vaishnava Aha. Anyway. Do what we can do. We can't do what we can't do. No, it's probably good. Yeah, today is Madhvacharya's appearance, so we're going to be speaking about Shripad Madhvacharya today, the great acharya of the Brahma Madhva Sampradaya, and also an acharya of the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, but he's not specifically Gaudiya, but he initiated Baladev Vidyabhushan, or his followers, initiated Baladev Vidyabhushan, who later on associated with Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and accepted Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur as his, what we call substantial guru. So, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he stated that our disciplic succession is a Shiksha disciplic succession. And, of course, Diksha is important, it's essential, according to Srila Rupa Goswami. But the Diksha is actually considered more important because, Siksha is considered more important. And in one sense, Shiksha and Diksha can't be separated because Siksha means instruction, and Diksha means that Divyagan Shayate. Divyagan Shayate means transcendental knowledge which frees one. And Siksha is transcendental knowledge, so it's almost like an artificial distinction. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he made that point very, very clearly, and not only in regard to Baladev Vidyabhushan and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, but we also have Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's own father, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who was initiated by Vipini Vihari Goswami, who's in the Janava Parivar. That means like family. Parivar actually means family in Sanskrit. But the primary guru, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, is Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. So you see this lesson is there. But anyway, so we are in the Diksha Sampradaya and also Siksha Sampradaya. from Srila Madhvacharya. So we're going to speak about him today. So first we will chant Jai Radha Madhava. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihagute Madhava Kunya Bihagute Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihagute Kunya Bihagute Gopi Jana Malava Girivardha Gupti Gopi Jana Malava Girivardha Gupti Yasodhanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yasodhanandana Rajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachagade Yamuna Tera Manachagate Jayo Randam Madhuva Kunya Bihagute Jaya Radha Madhuva Kunya Bihagute Gopi Dana Madhava Girivardha Gupti Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardha Gupti Yasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Close the door, please. Close the door. Yasodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tera Manachagade Yamuna Tera Manachagade Jai Radha Madhuva Kunya Bihagute Jaya Radha Madhova Kunya Bihagute Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Paravidacharya also Teta Sitashi Shimad, His Divine Grace Abhaya Charana, the Bhaktivedanta Goswami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Vidas Thakur Ki Jai, Param Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidway Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrindikajai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shaima Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Kijai Vrindavanam Kijai Mathuram Kijai Jagadada Swami Kijai Yamunamai Kijai Shrimati Tulasi Devi Kijai Samveda Bhakta Vrind Kijai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Utlay Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pachani Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschachate Shatarni So Omagana Timidanda Shah Garanjana Shlakya Chakshurun Meditam Yena Tasmai Shikadave Maha. So today we are commemorating the appearance day of Shripad Madhvacharya. Shripad Madhvacharya is the great acharya, as I mentioned before we chanted Jai Radha Madhava, in our Sampradaya, and we are known as the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. And Madhvacharya is the main acharya in the Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. Or the Madhva Sampradaya. And of course, our main acharya in the Krishna conscious movement is Rupa Goswami, and we are called Rupa Nugas. So, Madhvacharya remained on this earth, and there's two different dates given, and it's roughly 79 years he remained on this earth for. One date is 1199 to 1278. Common era. And the other one is 1238 to 1317. Anyway, so it's really not for sure. So, anyway, so he was the son of Vayu. There's actually other Vayu Putras who are very famous. One is Bhimsen, and the other one is my greatest hero, Hanuman. So you have Hanuman, Bhimsen, quite a family. And so Hanuman is still around. He's in Kim Purusha Loka. Bhimsen left this world. And Hanuman is always engaged in what? Ram Nam, chanting the name of Ram, worshiping the deities of Lord Ramchandra that were passed down in disciplic succession, ultimately given to him by Lord Ramchandra, Sita Ram deities. So before Madhvacharya appeared, there was a man who is, at least in the Madhva Vijaya, which is the biography which I got my information from, there's a man who was, it's described, unintelligent. That means he wasn't able to speak properly. And he was possessed by Krishna. And he made the announcement that soon the wind god's son will appear in Udupi, which is actually the place of Madhvacharya. So Madhvacharya's mother and father did great austerities in order to have Madhvacharya as a son. So, of course, this is the important thing, to purify one's consciousness before having a child. That's called the Garbhadan Samskara. But their Garbhadan Samskara was not, the Krishna conscious movement, it's mentioned, at least Prabhupada mentioned a few times, 50 rounds. But theirs was drinking only milk for 12 years in order to have a great son. And so, after Madhvacharya was born, there's many miracles. One time they were taking the baby Madhvacharya to the temple at night, and there was a Rakshasa there who was possessed. And the Rakshasa kept saying, only Vasudev's feet, because Madhvacharya was known as Vasudev when he was young, will cure me. So they touched his feet to this Rakshasa. The Rakshasa became a great personality after that point by the touch or the dust of the feet of Sripad Madhvacharya. And Madhvacharya, like Hanuman and like Bhimsen, had a voracious appetite. Bhimsen is known as Vrikodara, which means wolf belly. He's never satisfied. It's even described that when they were in the forest, he ate half of the food that was collected for the Pandavas, and then they divided the other half amongst the other Pandavas. Of course, when Draupadi had that pot that was given to her, I believe by the sun god, that pot can produce unlimited food. So Bhimsen was very happy at that particular point. And, of course, unlimited food until Draupadi herself ate. So he was so voracious in his eating as a child. I mean, it's not a fault. Prabhupada said that a child, young person, can make the mistake of eating too much. And an old person should make the mistake of eating too little. And Prabhupada said disease comes from overeating, which basically means also eating the wrong things. You can check out my video on YouTube, Stop Killing the Devotees, if you wish. Eating the wrong thing or overeating, uncleanliness, and anxiety. Okay. And how do you get rid of uncleanliness? Clean yourself internally by yak smarat pundarikaksham. Subhaya Gantara Shuchi, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, chanting the Lord's holy names, thinking of Krishna. Externally, obviously, we know how to do that. And how do you get rid of anxiety? Maybe you should tell me later. I need that information. But you get rid of anxiety by always chanting. What I've experienced is you chant Hare Krishna, no matter what happens in this world, instead of succumbing to your anger and anxiety, you just, in your mind, you just go Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So anyway, so he would drink his mother's milk every half an hour. So his mother was able to supply it somehow or other. So it came time, after a while, for his anaprasana, or anaprasna, which is the samskara in which the child gets his grains for the first time. Generally, when we do that here, I've done like thousands or millions of anaprasnas. There's a little tiny bowl of sweet rice, right? And you take a little silver spoon, and you don't even fill the whole silver spoon with the sweet rice. Just put a little bit, and you touch it to the child's tongue, and the child gets to taste sugar for the first time. And then the child also becomes attached to the sannyasi at that point. So it's you conditioning the child at that point. So, and then the child takes a little more, and then something comes out of the child's mouth. So, what happened with Madhvacharya, that it came time, it was the auspicious moment for his anaprasna, and his mother wasn't there, so his sister was taking care of him. So there were no grains there, so she looked around, and she gave him some of the grains that were meant for the horses. Sounds like New Vrindavan in the early days, doesn't it? And so when I was there, it was like we used the oats, the house oats, isn't it? You remember that too? And it was oat water. It wasn't even like, it was watery oats. So we got the same thing. But he took 40 kilos. That's like 100 pounds, almost 100 pounds. And so he definitely had good digestion. And when he was young, so many muscular tasks he illustrated when he was a little kid, he grabbed a bull's tail and he was pulled by the bull all day long. He's just like enjoying himself like that. Then there's the famous story that's probably one of the most famous stories. His father owed a debt to someone, and the creditor came to the house. And so in those days, because his father was a Brahmin, it was considered like to lose your reputation if you didn't pay your debts. And so this creditor camped outside of Madhvacharya's father's house, and he said, "I'm staying here until you pay your debts." So Madhvacharya heard about this, and he came out, little tiny boy. He came out with a palm full of seeds, tamarind seeds, and he said, "Here, I'll pay you." And the creditor was just like so enamored with Madhvacharya's cuteness that he took the seeds and he looked at his palm, and the seeds became gold nuggets. And so another miracle. And another time when his parents were at a temple, Lord Vishnu actually personally escorted the baby to different temples many, many kilometers away, even while the parents were at a temple attending a marriage. He learned everything. He was Shruti Dara. That's one of the qualities we see of many of the acharyas, perhaps not all the acharyas. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had the same quality. Shruti Dara means you remember everything, hearing it just one time, and Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur memorized the whole English dictionary just by reading it. So he learned everything immediately, and he became so educated so quickly that one time there was a reciter of the Puranas who was reciting something, and he either pronounced something wrong or he gave the wrong interpretation. That he corrected this reciter, and then he corrected his father when his father tried to correct him, and he was right. At 5 years old, he got his Brahman thread and the Gayatri Mantra, that's a Supanayanam, very young. And another miracle was that there was a snake demon who came outside his house. The snake demon's name was Mani Man, and he was three-headed. And Madhvacharya just used his toe to kill this snake demon. And this previously, this snake demon actually had attacked Bhimsen. It's described in the Madhva Vijaya that he was killed by Bhimsen, so I guess he just like reincarnated again to try to attack Bhimsen's brother. When Madhvacharya's mother wanted to see him, even if Madhvacharya was several kilometers or miles away, his mother called and he jumped through the air to see his mother. His teacher got very upset with him because he didn't see Madhvacharya studying or listening to the lessons. And Madhvacharya said, "Well, I've learned everything. I don't need water. It's just the air in the temple room because that incense is just, I can't. It's really bothering me." So his teacher accused him of not studying. He didn't see him studying. So Madhvacharya recited all the verses perfectly, and also the future lessons the teacher had not yet taught. Teacher's son one time had a headache, and Madhvacharya just blew in his ear, and he cured his headache. So, Madhvacharya's guru, initial guru, was named Achyuta Preksha. And in the Madhva Vijaya it describes he was previously a bee that was fed by Draupadi. So, Achyuta Preksha had a Mayavadi tendency, and Madhvacharya took sannyas at 9 years of age. I mean, there's this whole story, which is an interesting story, of how his parents objected, because he was the only son in the family, to him taking sannyas, and he made a deal with his parents, and they were quite old, that if they could have another child, another son, he'd get permission to take sannyas, and he got permission. And so anyway, another point about his guru, okay, which is really interesting, is his guru would always be feeding him sweets, and so he became attracted to the guru. But anyway, it's spiritual. So it took sannyas at 9 years of age, and he got the name Purna Pragya, which means one who has full intelligence. His guru was so attached to him that he wouldn't give his disciple permission to go just to the Ganges, because the Ganges is quite a different distance away from Udupi. I mean, Udupi is all the way on the east coast of India, mid-east coast of India, and the Ganges is all the way west coast. You're right. I got it wrong. On the west coast. It's all the way on the west coast, and the Ganges is all the way north. So, quite a bit of distance, several thousand kilometers away. So, anyway, so it's described that Purna Pragya brought the Ganges to Udupi somehow or other, and it manifests spiritually, mystically, every 12 years. Madhvacharya embarked on his mission of defeating different pandits. There was a pandit named Vasudev, and he established the proper understanding of Bhagavan and Srimad Bhagavatam. His guru then gave him another name, Ananda Tirtha, which was sort of the traditional name for the head of the moth there. So he went on in his mission to defeat all the people preaching the wrong philosophy, defeated the Jains, and then there was an interesting story with the head of the Buddhists, whose name was Buddhisagara, is an ocean of knowledge, Buddhisagara. And he came with his associates to challenge Madhvacharya, and they just had a preliminary discussion, and they said, agreed that the next day we will actually have the debate. So before the next day occurred, this Buddhist, Buddhisagara, and his associates ran away because they were afraid of being defeated. He was given the name Madhvacharya, and actually the name Madhvacharya, Madhu means honey, nectar, and Ananda, bliss. Sometimes he would continue to eat very big meals. One time he was challenged and he was offered 200 plantains. And he ate them with no problem at all. A plantain is a banana, like a cooking banana, it's a banana, type of banana. And if the plantain is not cooked, it's not really that digestible. But anyway, he had pretty good digestion. Hopefully they were cooked. So then he went to the South India, where he defeated Vijay Sankara. And this Vijay Sankara, that's the head of one of the heads of the Shankara Sampradaya, tried to harass him later by stealing his books so he could defeat him, because he thought Madhvacharya needed all his books around him to have an argument or defeat someone. But actually Madhvacharya didn't need the books. He had them all memorized. Another miracle, as he was passing through a village, there was a pregnant lady in the village, and there was no water. See how compassionate he was? To everybody, even just a simple lady in the village who was pregnant. So he put his dunda in the water, and in the ground, and immediately water started to come from the ground. Then he wrote his commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, the Gita Bhasha, which His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada makes reference to. And he wanted to make sure that everything was all right with this Gita Bhasha, the commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. So then he went to see Vyasadeva in Badarik Ashram. So when he went to see Vyasadeva at Badarik Ashram, he understood that Badarik Ashram, there's two parts of Badarik Ashram. One is the Uttara, the higher part. So he had to go to a place where nobody else had access to. So his disciple, Satyatirtha, tried to follow him as Madhvacharya was climbing up the mountain. And Madhvacharya waved his hand, and Satyatirtha flew back through the air to the base camp. So he showed his Gita Bhasha to Srila Vyasadeva. He also composed a commentary on the Brahma Sutra, the Vedanta Sutra, and in this commentary he analyzed three different aspects of the Vaishnava philosophy: Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. He found the Bhavishya Purana, and in the Bhavishya Purana there is actually the story. Oh no, he didn't find the Bhavishya Purana. There is the Bhavishya Purana, which is a little bit controversial, which tells the story of Madhva meeting with Lord Chaitanya in Navadvip, in which Madhvacharya was told not to describe Achincha Beta Beta Tapa, as the world was not ready for it. This is the Bhavishya Purana, and that Purana is not accepted by all the different acharyas as actually bona fide. Some people say it's more recent. In the year 1285, he was in Udupi, and he was bathing in the sea, and he saw a ship that was endangered. And so the ship was going to run aground or hit some rocks. So he saved the ship by, in the biography it describes, by creating a wind. And the captain was so happy with him. The captain said, "What do you want?" And Madhvacharya said, "I want some of the ballast from the boat." Ballast means the weight that's put in the boat when you don't have a lot of cargo, so the boat won't rise too high and then capsize. It's important. Actually, anyone who's been in a boat knows the boat has to have some ballast, especially if it's a sailboat, which has a deep keel. You have to have ballast down there just to hold the boat down, or else the boat will tip over. So he said, "I just want some of your ballast." So he understood that the ballast, the weight that was holding the boat down, was these big stones of Gopi Chandan. So he got this big stone of Gopi Chandan, and he took it off. He was carrying it himself. He put it in the water, and the Gopi Chandan dissolved. And some stories said he chipped away at it, and it opened up. But anyway, there's two different versions of the story. And the deity of Balakrishna came out. And that is the main deity in Udupi. In addition, in Udupi, he worshipped the deities of Sita Ram, which were given to Hanuman. And those deities were passed down through basically the whole chain of disciplic succession described by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Vivaswan, Manu, Ikshvaku, etc., like that, all the way down to Lord Ramchandra. And we know the story, which I've told many times before. The Lord Ramchandra didn't want to worship his own deities, but he gave those deities to a Brahmana who had taken a vow not to eat until he saw Lord Ramchandra that day. So having deities of Lord Ramchandra helps you eat anytime you want. So then, so many miracles he performed. Another interesting story was one time a wrestler challenged him, big, humongous guy, challenged him to a wrestling match. And Madhvacharya said, basically, I'll say that you've defeated me if you could move my big toe. So the wrestler went to him, and he just, and he couldn't even move Madhvacharya's big toe. So it's an interesting story here that Madhvacharya did do sacrifices, and even sacrifices with, not with animals, but with flower replicas of animals. It's interesting. So they did, instead of, there's Gomeda, Ashwameda, and everything like that, they used replicas of the animals made out of flour. Another interesting story is that one time in his travels, he came across a king, and the king was engaging all the different travelers in helping to dig a lake. So he went there and helped the king dig a lake, and he actually engaged the king in the digging, and they found water. Another time, while in his travels, a bunch of thieves, dacoits, came to attack him, and he said, "You can have all my gold." And there was a whole bag, a real heavy bag, and that bag was a bag of stones. So these thieves, they took it away very, very happy, and they fought with each other afterwards. I don't know if they killed each other. Then he paid a second visit to Srila Vyasadeva, and Vyasadeva told him to explain the Mahabharata. So Madhvacharya wrote a commentary on the Mahabharata known as the Tatpara Nirnaya, which means the truth of the Mahabharata. And actually I've read a lot of the commentary, and it's sort of written from an I was there perspective, which is interesting. And also he wrote a commentary on the Ramayana. Then he took disciples to Hastinapur, and he told them stories that appeared to be from his memory. He showed Bhimsen's club to them. Nowadays, of course, people did a Photoshop thing, and they said, "We found Bhimsen's club." Nobody's found Bhimsen's club. And then he reburied it. Then he went to Kurukshetra. He was in Kurukshetra. And he showed them where everything occurred. Another miracle was that one time he sung to some seeds which grew into trees and bore fruits. Now, I mentioned previously that the Mayavadi stole some books from him, and so the King Jayasingha, a Lion King, victorious Lion King, recovered these books, were stolen by the Mayavadis, and so Sripad Madhvacharya left this world while speaking a commentary on the Upanishads, and as he left this world, the demigods showered flowers on him, covered him with flowers, and when the disciples uncovered him, he was not there anymore. So, as far as Sripad Madhvacharya's teaching of philosophy, Dvaita, of course, we have a summary at different points that were written down by Baladev Vidyabhushana in his famous book, Prameya Ratnavali. And I have the Sanskrit for it, but I'm not going to read the Sanskrit for it now. But Baladev Vidyabhushana stated that Sripad Madhvacharya taught that, one, Krishna, who is known as Hari, is the Supreme Lord, the Absolute. This is like a Dashamula, although there's not 10 of them. ISKCON right now, at least the GBC and some of the intellectuals like the SAC, are trying to figure out a Dashamula for ISKCON, isn't it? 12 points for ISKCON, 12 basic root, 10, sorry. 10, not 12. 10 basic points that are the root of the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, the Siddhanta. So, anyway, and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote extensively about his Dashamula. So here's the summary given by Baladev Vijayabhushan. 1. Krishna, who is known as Hari, is the supreme truth, the absolute. 2. That supreme Lord may be known through the Vedas. And of course, another contribution that I remember about Madhvacharya is that he was able to prove that all the Vedas comprised a unified work. He was able to show, the 4 Vedas, Rig, Sama, Yajur, and Atharva, the Upanishads, the Vedanta Sutras, Vedanta Sutra, the Puranas and Itihasas are actually all part of a unified work. Whereas many scholars before, and still some today, consider only the 4 Vedas to be bona fide. But actually in the beginning of the Vedic literatures we find this verse, Itihasa Purananam Panchama Veda Uchate, that the Itihasas, the histories, such as the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, and the Puranas, such as the Srimad Bhagavatam, are considered to be the 5th Veda. So, anyway, the Supreme Lord may be known through the Vedas. 3, the material world is real. It's real. We believe that too. It's temporary. What's unreal is our conception of the material world, that we think the material world is substantial in the sense of continues to exist, or everything we have continues to exist, that I'm always going to be Bir Krishna Maharaj. That's unreal. Nasato vijate bhavo nabhavo vijate sato. We are drishto antas tvanios tatvadashavi. So in that sense, unreal. The jivas or souls are different from the Supreme Lord. That may come as a shock to you. Here's another one, which shows that it's nature, not nurture. The jivas are by nature servants of the Supreme Lord. Madhvacharya's teaching. By nature. That means it's inherent. Got it? Inherent. It's not inherited. That I become a servant because you tell me I'm a servant. I mean, I realize I'm a servant because Prabhupada told me I'm a servant, but I was always a servant. Jivara Surapohoy Nitya Krishna Das. Some people are preaching a different philosophy, unfortunately. Bogus. 6, there are 2 categories of jivas, liberated and illusioned. Of course, Madhvacharya accepted that some of the illusioned ones, basically, that's it. You stay in illusion. But, that's a little bit different than what we believe, that there's a chance for every illusioned soul to become Krishna conscious. 7, liberation means attaining the lotus feet of Krishna, and that is entering into eternal relationship of service to the Supreme Lord. 8, pure devotional service is the cause of this relationship. Same thing as we believe in. 9, the truth may be known. Oh, actually, I cut it off. This is the pramanas that are listed by Madhvacharya, inference, especially Shabda. Shabda is like the incontrovertible truth. So, I think I wrote that in another. No. Anyway. So, anybody have any questions? It's 1 minute left. According to the biographies that I looked at, Madhvacharya appeared again either in 1199 or 1238, somewhere between that in that time span. And in one of them is 79, was in this world for 79 years. So, any other questions, quick questions or comments? Yes. Yeah, that's a way of looking at things. Like, if we consider real to be something that maintains its identity or structure, that's unreal. The material world doesn't maintain the structure. Everything is endlessly mutable. It's always changing. So in that respect, the material energy manifests an unreal aspect. Because it's temporary. Bhutva, praliyate. Sometimes it's manifest, sometimes it's unmanifest. So that sages see with that vision, but it does exist. In that sense, it's real, but in the sense of continuing to exist, it's unreal.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Marhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundaranam Kandar Agom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobha Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Lasyan Dipan Kayanti Tiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham
Bhajami. Namakom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Namani Namante Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Majar, Nagini Vishesha, Sunyavadi, Paschacha, Jesa Tarande. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Prabhupada Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Krishna Chaitanya Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram Kure Ate. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hagorokin Nana Gorokin Nana Jay. Hagorokin Nana Gorokin Nana Jay. Rate, Rate. Radhe, 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 Radhe. Jai Om Paramahansa Jaya
Chaitodarpanamarjanam Bhavamahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairavya Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipanam Brunam Swadanam Sarvatma Hari Bahudan Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapitani Hamita Smarane Nakala Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Gurdaiva Midrishami Hajjanina Anuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Charorapi Suhishuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagadishakamaye Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Hoitaki Twai Hoinanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Bunau Kribayata Vabada Pankaja Stita Duli Sajashim Vachintaya Nayanam Galadishu Daraya Varanam Gadgarudaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vabukada Tavanamagrahane Bhavishyati Yugayatam Namishena Chakshusha Bravashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Ashlishyava Padamritam Panastunam Adarshanam Marma Hatakarotuva Yatatatava Vidadatulam Pado Mat Prananatastusa Eva Napara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditioned life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction, and because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate. Thank you. And chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my Lord unconditionally. Sri Shaska Ki Jai.